All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Quadash, and double honors to the apostles of the great millstone that have taught us this truth, and to include the other bishops on down, and overall to the rest of the brethren, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Barakatham even, and it's your brother Laban. I want to go over some interesting stuff that I have over here, and more things in regarding to America's downfall. These omens or these signs of this particular nation, which has once upon a time been a great influence of the world. It's now being brought down little and little. Okay, and again, the signs do show this. I mean, you have this situation, as you saw in the video, the parachute going all the way down with the American flag on it. That's a symbolic meaning, isn't it? You don't get any more clear cut and dry than this. It's very evident. And I mean, I don't have to read this article because it just goes over, what we saw in the video. Anyway, so as usual, I'm going to tie this in with, Isaiah 47. And I'll begin by reading the KJV version, and then I'm going to read the NLT. Verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, and there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. And that's where America is going to end up. It's going to end up sitting in the dust, or sitting on the ground, so to speak. And as you had it so many different times in history, the Lord have raised nations up and He smacked them down. And when we see these kind of sort of signs and stuff of this nature, it just reminds us that we're basically at the time of its end. We're in the ending of Esau's rulership right now. And America, like I've always been saying, it hasn't been the richest nation on the face of the earth, but it's been the greatest nation in the earth concerning it being the greatest influencer. You know what I'm saying? So, when you think about the ideologies of white supremacy and the inferiority of people of color because of their racial background or what have you, or just basically their color, all of that stems all the way back to America. You want to talk about mainstream media, you want to talk about mainstream trends, all of these various different things that has transformed the world to the setting to that of America came from America. That's how powerful this nation really was in influencing the world on the trends. And this is the reason why the rest of the world has looked down upon Jake, because you have JOO-ish mainstream media, which they control everything any doggone way. But they control, the point that I'm getting at is that the mass or mainstream media has been remotely controlled by them. So when you're thinking about American culture has had it so that even us as people of color are to be considered less than. This whole idea of people of color being inferior to Edomites. So much so now that even among these other nations, like case in point, you got countries around the world that actually believe in this notion that because of their dark skin, they're inferior. And so many of these nations felt the need to, skin bleach themselves to look like, something equivalent or closer to the so-called white man, and just things of that nature. Right. So as far as it goes, the point of the matter is that America has been a great empire. Even militarily has been a great empire, and everybody wanted to be down with the American side of things. People wanted to go to America and live in America because of what they saw from their country. And they saw it as the country of prosperity, the country of a plethora of opportunities. And it's just this beacon of light that America projected itself to be. And now we're in a different time in a generation where people no longer see that anymore. People see the truth of what America has always been about. Especially now, geopolitically, it's now come to an head that America has ruled with the sword and has bullied these other nations, dropping drones, and get their own way in many different various ways that they could. So the truth is now being known and shown that Esau is the problem of the planet Earth, beginning with America. All right. And that's why these nations eventually are going to end up smiting America with these nukes because of the things that America has done historically and as well as currently geopolitically for the most part, and angering these nations. All right. So what we're going to bear witness to is America being brought to its end physically, which we're already in that mode right now in time where America's already down. And again, the signs do show. Now, let me read it from the NLT. Isaiah 47 and verse 1. Come down, virgin daughter of Babylon, and sit on the dust. For your days of sitting on a throne, or sitting on a throne, have ended. Absolutely. So there's a time and a place for everything under the sun. And Esau had their time. And now their time is up. Now, speaking about time, I don't want to get Ecclesiastes 3. I want to get Ecclesiastes 9. And I want to read that instead because this really just hits home to the point. Let's get that. Ecclesiastes 9 and verse 12. And it's verse 11 to be exact, actually. So yeah, let's read this over here. I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor of men of skill, but time and chance happen to them all. Absolutely. So as the Lord had it so, he took the basis of a nation and exalted them because it was their time to fulfill the prophecy of Daniel. When Daniel broke down the statue, which was made out of the various different rudiments, which represented the different kingdoms, and he declared that the fourth kingdom, which was going to be the revival version of Rome, would come into effect. So it didn't matter how low of a state Esau was in. It was the counsel of the Lord that they was going to rule anyway, 3 times already. And they were going to rule in the last times. And here we are now in this revival version of Rome at the end of it. Okay. And Esau's ruling as the Lord willed it to be, as he already had in his mind. All right. So as well as it is in the Lord's mind is to set up the kingdom of heaven and to do away with this kingdom. And so here we are. We're in the ending of this society, and we're transitioning to the beginning of the other one, which follows. 2nd Ezra 6, and I think that's verse 9, I believe that is. So here you have it. Again, the 4th time coming, I have to say, the signs do show. Now, what I want to do is I want to read this over here. This is Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, just to simply put it. Chapter 10 and verse 14. The Lord have cast down the thrones of the proud princes and set up the meek in their stead. The Lord have plucked up the roots of the proud nations and planted them lowly in their place. And the Lord overthrow of countries of the heathen and destroy of them to the foundations of the earth, which ties into what? Isaiah 47 and verse 1. Let's read it again. Come down, virgin daughter of Babylon, and sit in the dust, for your days of sitting on a throne have ended. So America is gonna come down to sit in the dust, and the word dust just means confusion. And America is becoming more and more to that a confusion. Okay, in a negative sense, of course. being confused is always negative, but I'm just saying, like, when I say in a negative sense, I'm saying from a point of, from an economical standpoint, where the economy is damned to where people are now complaining about the standard of living. And I'm going to get to that in the end as well. All right. So, yeah, let me read this again. The Lord have plucked up the roots of the proud nations and planted the lowly in their place. In America, you can't tell me it's not a proud nation. America, I would say, is the most proudest nation that ever was. The Lord overthrew countries of the heathen and destroyed them to the foundations of the earth. And he took some of them away and destroyed them and have made their memorial to cease from the earth. And that's what's written in the book of Job, I think this is the 20th chapter as well. Let's bring that out real quick. Let's get that in the book of Job. Job 20. Job 20 and I think it's what, maybe 19 or something like that. Okay, so yeah, let me go up a couple of verses then. Right. Yeah, this is a good scripture, but this ain't really the one as I thought. Thought it was in Job 20, but it isn't. So now let me see what else I can do. Yeah, let me do this. There it is. Job 18 and 17. Beautiful. The water Yahweh wash me out shine. Let me turn this mic around. As this now reads, his remembrance, this is Job 18 and 17. His remembrance shall perish from the earth and shall have no name in the street. So all of the accomplishments that Esau has done on the face of the earth in this generation in times past will cease, even to include which associates with one's name is one's reputation. All of that is going to cease to exist. And he's going to be brought to nothingness. And it's going to be considered that Esau is that base nation. See? Name, reputation, fame, glory, which you have the word Shem. Or Sham in the Hebrew. See? Reputation, fame, glory. So the glory of Esau is going to be disannulled because, again, it's the law that promotes nations to that. So if it's a law that promotes nations to that, then that means the Lord can take that away from them. All right. Now let's read this as well. This is Ecclesiastes, Sirach 10 and 4. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. In the hand of the Most High is the prosperity of man, and upon the persons of the scribe shall he lay his honor. Exactly. So, like I said, the Lord put the prosperity in this man or this devil, and he's going to take it from him. And guess what? That same prosperity that he casted upon men, he's going to cast upon those that he declared to be his people, the sons of God. And that prosperity is going to reign within us for eternity. You see, all of these nations, when they were in the rulership position, they really thought that their days were not going to come to an end of their triumphing. But literally, the sons of God were literally going to triumph forever. All right. And and so there's another thing that I want to show you. There's another symbolic thing that happened, which was last week ago. And this was them celebrating the coming of the 250th year anniversary celebration. And what happened, as you can see, these girls was dancing to some song, whatever song it was, probably like back in the 40s or something, or the 50s. And then all of a sudden the roof came down. A part of the roof came down as they were dancing. So let's play this video. Let's bring this back real quick. Yeah, that sounds like the late 50s, probably early 60s. See? And speaking of the 1950s too, the 1950s was like the heyday of America. I mean, you want to talk about a booming economy, and that's why they say people that's born between, what is it, the 1950s and the early 1960s. I think those that were born after the Second World War, those that were born after the Second World War towards the early 1960s, they call them what? The baby boomers, because they were born into an economy that was booming. All right, just to mention. Yeah, so you saw that a part of the roof came down. So again, America's is through. America's out of here. I mean, and before all of this was even had and seen, America's been down as well as we've been seeing it to be any doggone way. You know what I mean? So, but again, the Lord is showing us signs, man, to us brothers, those that believe in Yahweh Shai, that he's getting ready to bring this place down in the worst kind of way, man. It's coming. The physical end of this place is coming. So yeah, let me read this as well. This is Psalm 75 and verse 6. For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. But the Most High is the judge, and he putteth down one and setteth up another. And he's going to set up the saints of the Most High, who are Israelites. Not to sound like High Priest Ariah, right? But yeah, he's going to set up his people, the people who he has ordained to be chosen of him. All right, now let's get to this point in reading this verse over here. Psalm 75 and verse 8. For in the hand of the Lord Yahweh there is a cup, and the wine is red, and it is full of mixture. And he poureth out of the same, but the dregs thereof, all of the wicked of the earth shall wring them out and drink them. Absolutely. So all of these nations will drink of the curses, but primarily the nation of Edom, they're going to drink this cup fully. They're going to be under the worst conditions that is going to be unbearable in our world. As the old saying goes, the white man's heaven is the black man's hell, and it's going to be reversed. The Israelite man's heaven is going to be the Edomite man's hell. And that's just going to be the shift of things. Their experiences is going to be deplorable. They're going to be in deplorable conditions. Okay? They're going to get their ass whooped in so many different ways. Physically, of course, and also psychologically too, man. While they're under us. The same way they did us is the way we going to do them, but even worse. But we're gonna treat them accordingly to the law. So we're going to figure out things to go to probably go, I wouldn't say beyond the law, but to not break the law. And it's going to be things that it's just going to be unbearable for these people to bear, man, for the wrongs that they've committed against our people. And vengeance reigns upon our hearts too, but we just don't have the power to do it, right? But to hell with our vengeance. What Esau has to look forward to is the second return of the anointed one, the Amashiach Yahweh Shai, because vengeance purely reigns in his heart. And we're talking about a power that is way beyond this physical format right now. To hell about what we feel and what we think. When the Lord gets back, listen, scriptures don't lie. There's so many scriptures that explains the wonders and the terribleness of our power from on high, right? And that's not a power you really want to play around with, man. I don't think, I don't really think that's a good thing for men to do, is to play with the Most High. Like, the Lord has showed incredible wonders, soul breaking wonders, if I can even use that word, or those form of words. Like, the Most High has done things to break the souls of men. You understand, to pieces. And he's going to do that. He's going to send his son back here. And I'm telling you, men, just based on the sight of what they're going to see when the Lord's return is had an effect, they're going to just drop dead. The earth is going to shake. There's going to be a whole lot of drama. There's going to be a whole lot of highly dynamic things that the Lord is going to display. All right. And what he's going to display is really the power of his Father in heaven, which Yahweh Shai is the right hand of his Father. So when Yahweh Shai gets back, he's going to show the scariness, the absolute spookiness of his power. And it's going to spook the world back to default setting. Okay. And that's how the Lord is going to, reinvigorate his reputation and what he stands for. His name is going to be set on high. And guess what? The respect is going to come. That's how the respect is going to come for the Israelites. Is by what? The doings of the Lord. Okay? So that's how it's going to go down. So that's the power that's coming back on this earth. To hell what we feel and what we think, because we can't do nothing about anything any doggone way until Yahweh Shai gets back. So I wouldn't really worry about what we feel and what we think about what was done. Just know that, Esau, that you are going to pay big time. When the Lord comes back, you are going to pay in ways that's inexplainable. Your kingdom is going to end in the most inexplainable way possible. All right? And you're going to see why we do what we do. The whole world is going to bear witness to the scariness of the Most High, man. It's coming. Now, let me read this again. That was a mouthful. For in the hand of the Lord there is a cup, and the wine is red, and it is full of mixture, and he poureth out the same. But the dregs thereof, all of the wicked of the earth shall wring them out and drink them. So all of the curses they're going to drink. That's what this basically represents. The cup represents the curses and even the worst of the cursed. They're going to have to accept and to deal with. All right. And that's the nation of Edom under our kingdom. But I will declare forever, I will sing praises to the Most High of Jacob, or the God of Jacob. All of the horns of the wicked also will I cut off, which horns is symbolic of power. But the horns of the righteous shall be exalted. And who is the horn of the righteous going to be? Yahweh Shai, the power of Yahweh Shai. By the power of Yahweh Shai, he's going to deliver us, and he's going to turn us into powers. So the power of Israel is going to be Yahweh through his son Yahweh Shai. Okay. Now let's further continue. Jeremiah 49 and verse 12. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have surely drunken. And art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. Absolutely. So here it is. Like we would say from time to time, we are the Lord's chosen people. That's now been announced and declared. All right. Time's over and then some. So if we had to drink of the cup of the cursing, and it wasn't really for us to drink that cup, but we've drunken it. Why? Because we sinned. And art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? And here's the kicker. They're gonna drink of that cup because let's just say the Lord have scunded them from drinking that cup. That would then say that they're over us. They're not over us. They're under us. So again, if we drunk the cup because of our wrongs, how much more of them? They're gonna drink of that cup. No doubt about it. Again, thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. For I have sworn by myself, save the Lord, that Basra shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse. And all of the cities thereof shall be a perpetual waste. And that's where America is going towards. It's going to be a perpetual waste. So when something is perpetual, is everlasting. It doesn't go away. That's mentioned in the book of Isaiah 34, Isaiah 13, how these two chapters explain America's downfall and that it will never rise again. And it's just only going to be a whole desert. Okay, so it's all beginning right now. The curse of Basra is beginning here right now. And I want to tie this in with Deuteronomy 30 and verse 7. And we're going to play a video which explains that these Edomites are complaining about the standard of living, and they're in the same kind of conditions that Jake was under. Deuteronomy 30 and verse 7, and the Lord thy power put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Absolutely. So here we have it over here. Let's play this video.
Yo, if I see that news report of them talking about how more and more Americans are reporting food insecurity, I'm gonna fucking lose it. We have no money. How many times do we have to say it? How many ways do we have to say it?
Well, I'm on my way to the food bank. I go once every 2 weeks because I can't afford groceries. I mean, I have a decent job. I actually do, but I cannot afford groceries. And it's not...
A volunteer will put a box of groceries in the back of my vehicle, and that's the end of it. I used to actually volunteer for this organization, sorting, handing out groceries, and then long COVID.
A struggle meal used to be the fallback. Now, it's the whole menu. Before the lines and the drive-thrus, listen to the people who've run out of quieter ways to say the same thing.
Yo, if I see that news report of them talking about how more and more Americans are reporting food insecurity, I'm gonna fucking lose it. We have no money. How many times do we have to say it? How many ways do we have to say it? We are broke. We are poor. We have no extra cash. I don't have the money for that right now. No tango dinero. How many times do we have to say we don't have money? Oh, more people are reporting food insecurity. More people are going on vacation. No, duh. We are poor. Thank you.
I don't know about you, but our struggle meals are becoming a daily meal and a daily struggle. I had the thought tonight that one of our struggle meals, that was usually pretty, inexpensive, filling, all of that, has gone up like $10. Hamburger gravy and mashed potatoes. What's your go-to struggle meal? Because this mom is looking for some ideas.
Well, I'm on my way to the food bank. I go once every 2 weeks because I can't afford groceries. I mean, I have a decent job. I actually do, but I cannot afford groceries. And it's not depending on the number of kids I have or how much I rent. It's literally, inflation is awful right now. I cannot afford to live. And I know I'm not the only one who's struggling with this.
When a headline says food insecurity is rising, it renames what these people already live as a statistic. In 2024, the USDA counted 47.9 million people in food insecure households. That's more than California and New York combined. This is not a spike anymore. It's a floor that keeps sinking, catching people who work steady jobs and still cannot cover groceries. The word inflation does the work of explaining it away. What it hides is that wages stopped reaching food, and the gap had to land somewhere. Watch where it lands next.
I'm going to a new food pantry this evening, and I am really nervous. Let's review. I go by Allie. I am 48 years old. I have 30 years of experience and a master's degree in my field. I was laid off in October, and I'm still looking for work. Let's do this. The food share I attend has several locations, and each on a different day of the week. I was thinking about going to a new one, new to me, one this evening. It's kind of a long drive. I'm a little nervous because I haven't been there before. It's unclear on the website whether it's a drive up or a walk up, and I just kind of feel like, I'm scared and I don't want to. And that's exactly the reason why I'm going to do this. The reason I put my sort of journey out here publicly is to reduce the shame and stigma of going for help and to sort of like lower the squidginess barrier of being able to like be brave enough to go. So I'm putting on my big girl pants, I'm getting in the car, and I'm driving out to the food pantry. I'm a mid-career professional with a master's degree. I was laid off from my job 8 months ago. Come to the drive-up food pantry with me. This food share is a food rescue.
So there you go. Shalom.